Dana White and fans are calling for Jon Jones to fight Tom Aspinall next, but Joe Rogan has warned Tom about facing Jon in the octagon. Let's check it out. Cody East is one of Jon Jones's previous training partners, and he spoke about how easy of a fight he thinks Tom Aspinall would be for Jon. Cody stated, "I think Jon does Aspinall. You know what I mean? I think he goes in there and he makes it look simple, dude. I really believe that, you know? I think he's the best. You know what I mean? He really is. He's very smart." You've seen Aspinall. It was early in his career, but he got manhandled pretty good by a wrestler and he had a loss. If that guy can do that to you, what could Jon do to you? You know what I mean? Jon's going to attack from various attacks and different things. He's not going to play Aspinall's game. When Aspinall wants to strike, Jon's just going to wrestle. When he wants to wrestle, Jon's gonna strike. I believe if Jon gets paid what he wants, he'll take that fight. Israel Adesanya is impressed with Tom's physique and speed, but he thinks that Jon's wrestling might be too much.
But Aspinall, he and his dad, cool dudes, lovely guys as well. But he's the same height as me, if not an inch taller, but thick. And I was like, fuck, you're a lot thicker than I would expect. And the speed, that's the thing that I'm like, okay, that's the danger. But again, grappling, he's a black belt. Jon is it's different. But I don't know, man. They gotta fight, but if they don't ever fight, we'll never know.
Jason Mayhem Miller thinks that the hype behind this fight is what will lead to one of Jon's biggest paydays, but he also thinks that the price has to be right for Jon to take the fight. Jason stated, "I mean, look, they're floating around $30 million. Jon Jones ain't getting off the couch for less than 29. I think that, look, they have enough money in the sport to pay them boys enough to let us have a great fight. Like arguably the best fight of the entire year, and it's coming up. Look, Jon ain't getting no younger. We ain't getting no younger. Let's do the damn fight, Tom Aspinall." Tom Aspinall believes that he knows exactly what he has to do to take Jon down, and he thinks that he's figured out Jon's secret.
One of Jon Jones' biggest advantages he has over everybody, and he says this on multiple interviews, is that he's a tape studier, as am I.
I study everybody extensively, and then I come up with their patterns.
Pick up on the tendencies, what they like, what they don't like, what they're good at, when they're tired, what tires them out, how's they defend when you throw this shot, how do they react when you do this, etc. He loves to study opponents like this. He had no chance of doing that with me, because my average fight time is the shortest in UFC history at 2 minutes 2 seconds over 10 fights, and that's something that keeps him up at night. I am a massive question mark for him. He's got a lot of octagon time over a lot of years. I've got next to nothing, next to no footage on me. He's out there and be doing anything apart from bouncing people's heads off the canvas, and he has no idea what to prepare for, and that is fantastic for me.
Wow, that's a great promo, Tom.
Meanwhile, some pros and analysts are worried about Jon Jones considering retirement, and Joe Rogan wonders how much time he'd have to take a fight with Tom Aspinall. Joe stated, "Apparently Jon is thinking about retiring. He should think about it. Give the man all the time he wants. He can fight whenever he wants to fight. That's Jon Jones. He's the GOAT. So leave him alone. If he decides one day to come back, and he comes back and he wants to fight Tom Aspinall for the heavyweight title, the question is, how long are you allowed to hold on to that title before they start having that conversation?" As for Jon's willingness to fight Tom Aspinall or anyone else before retiring, Chael Sonnen thinks that there's one way to motivate him.
Jon is fighting Tom, but Jon is going to have some fun with us that he's not. Here's the problem. It's called marking out for your own gimmick. I've already watched this happen with Jon. There was, for nothing more than marketing reasons, that both Jon and Stipe would retire after this fight, and Jon grabbed it. Once upon a time, Khabib grabbed the mic and he retired, and the UFC said, "No way." They didn't accept it. What would you do if Jon did that? Jon is going to fight again. The UFC knows that. What would they do if Jon said, I'm out, I'm vacating"? Would they say, okay, fine, we've got Tom, we're gonna get on with it. He said he was gonna retire before. We made him at Madison Square Garden. Told you he'd show up, and he will show up, and we'll get him again. Michael Bisping says you gotta strip the son of a bitch. In all fairness, you gotta strip the son of a bitch. We don't generally strip for illness or injury. It's healthy and unwilling. But would they do that with Jon? What if Jon didn't say it? Jon was all willing and said, not Aspinall.
Tom has a supporter in the form of Michael Bisping, though, as he actually believes that Tom could beat Jon. Michael stated, "I was kind of frustrated by the things Jon Jones was saying during fight week when he fought Stipe Miocic. Now, looking back, I kind of agree. I think he played it like a genius because it made the desire and the demand for the fight even bigger, and along the way playing some mind games with Tom. I do believe that Tom would probably beat him in a fight, but the way he played it was to drive demand. And I think it worked. Dana White wants to put the fight on. Tom Aspinall said that Dana told him that it's going to happen. I would guess that it goes down in 2025. When Tom won one of his fights in London, I did a post-fight show on TNT Sports, and I was like, Tom Aspinall would smoke Jon Jones. It wouldn't even be a fight. Maybe there was a little bit of recency bias there. It's not because I admire Tom. It's because when I look at him and I see the size, agility, and power he has, I'm not surprised he's now the interim champion. I wouldn't be surprised if he beats Jon when they do fight. But seeing Jon Jones and seeing what he did against Stipe, it will be a tougher fight for Tom than I initially imagined. Brandon Gibson is Jon's head coach, and he actually thinks that Jon and his team already have a pretty good game plan for beating Tom. Gibson stated, "There's still plenty of habits, tendencies, and repetitive motions to identify, develop a game plan and strategy on, and capitalize on. That's what we do, and we're pretty good at it too." Yeah, each fighter brings their own unique challenges, and Tom has a lot of great gifts, but no fighter is perfect. Jon has made a career out of exploiting flaws and tendencies. I actually just saw Cain Velasquez's quote in an interview, where Cain said he's seen some of these tendencies, and he believes Jon will exploit them as well. So obviously, I believe in Jon, I believe in our team, and I believe in the work we've done. Tom brings a lot of unique challenges, but I think we're open and willing to solve that puzzle. Jon has been talking about taking other fights though, and he's made it clear that Tom wouldn't change his legacy one bit.
If you're a person that wants to see me really challenged, then I get it. 7 years younger, 35 pounds bigger than me. But for me, if you were my manager, if you were on my team, why not fight against Pereira, a guy who's the same age as you, and we walk around the same exact size. And he has magnificent accolades. Business-wise, it makes more sense. Fight the nobody that may be more dangerous, or fight the guy with all the accolades, who's incredibly dangerous, but it actually will affect your legacy. Me beating Cyril Gane didn't change anything for me. And it would be the same for Tom Aspinall, where when you look back and it's like Jon just beat Alex Pereira. It's bigger. It's just much bigger.
Accolades aside, Henry Cejudo believes that a fight between Jon and Tom would be easy money for Jon, and he hopes to see it. Henry stated, "Heavyweight, I'm going Jon Jones, bro. I watched a little bit of Tom Aspinall yesterday. He's got lateral movements. Really, really good. But Jones is just too smart, bro. Jones just needs to press him. Stay in the middle. Don't react. Find his wrestling. I think it'll be easy money. I think he's still going to get paid that $30 million. Jon Jones thinks that Tom is annoying, and he seemed to have no interest in dealing with him.
A lot of people on his nuts right now.
But what has he done though?
Coming up with Jon Jones t-shirts, buying a little duck, and just the little shit that he does. He's annoying to me. He's annoying to me, and that's my own personal. He annoys me. I get to you guys, you find it entertaining, but I find him annoying, and I just don't like him. And at the end of the day, if I give him the opportunity to fight me, I want to be so compensated. I want to say it. I want that fuck you money. Honestly, and that's just what it is. That's just what it is. Or else, my life is perfect without him. I don't need him at all, and he needs me, and that's a good place to be in.
When Chael Sonnen looked at the potential fight, he believes that the only way Jon would lose to Tom is if he were to get knocked out. Chael stated, "If Jon Jones is gonna lose to Tom Aspinall, he is gonna have to get knocked out." And what about when they do take the fighting? When it's no longer a sport, which comes in around 2 to 3 minutes of the second round. You are now in the tough guy business. On the other hand of business, Daniel Cormier thinks that a fight with Tom Aspinall could lead to a good final payday for Jon Jones. And he stated, "You can do 16 mil at the gate. You can do whatever you do on pay-per-view. You've got sponsorships for the fight night. Those aren't yours. You are bringing them on." I'm not sure he gets to 30, but if you ask for 30 and you get 20 or you get 15, that's a win for Jon Jones on his way out. John Anik definitely feels confident about Jon taking the fight.
No, I don't have any inside information, but
I do believe that fight is going to happen. And I think most telling was just the way Jon Jones handled his post-fight interview with Joe Rogan. And then I talked to him after the fact in the back for ESPN, and I was like, are we getting 3 or 4 more of these things or what? You know, he was going into the Stipe fight with a fight-by-fight mentality, and he sounded like the furthest thing from retirement with Rogan after the fact. So that's very encouraging. He's not going to fight Alex Pineda right now. He's going to fight Tom Aspinall. And it just comes down to what Jon Jones's number is. What is Jon Jones's net worth? What number is he looking for? Is it $25 million to show? You know, what is Michael Jordan worth? What is the greatest of all time worth? So, yeah, I feel like the company is in a great position to make this fight. And I think you got to do Las Vegas. You got to do International Fight Week 2025. So you and me are aligned. I think what he wants is like that $30, $40, $50 million payday, which he so deserves at this point in time. Yeah, I mean, Tom Aspinall could knock Jon Jones out in a minute, and I don't think it's legacy diminishing whatsoever, but you better make $30 million, because then at that point in time, maybe Jon Jones doesn't want to have another training camp and rematch Tom Aspinall or have 2 or 3 more fights, right? Because in my mind, he has 16 championship banners already hanging. So I just want to see Jon Jones get paid, and I think that's what's going to happen, and I think that's going to be the driving force.
When Cain Velasquez was asked about his own prediction, he definitely doesn't think that Jon would lose to Tom. Cain stated, "No, I don't think he beats Jon Jones. Me, just watching him, I kind of see his pattern a little bit in his striking, the way he comes in and strikes. I think Jon sees it too. So I think with that, Jon studies. He does his homework. He's a master at this. He analyzes things. He studies you over and over again. I think just for that reason, he's going to know what to do. So I don't think Aspinall beats Jon. Everybody has a fight pattern. Some people disguise it better than others. The simple fact is, the way that he comes in and fights, he has a pattern that's somewhat easier to find. When he comes in and strikes, a lot of things come with that. It's disguising the pattern, it's throwing fakes before. But when he comes in and attacks, he comes in and attacks. It's 100% full go. He comes in and glides in, lunges in, and does his attack. Not that it's not effective, it is. He's done great things with it. Look where he's at now. I'm not taking anything away from him. But I think that the type of guy that Jon Jones is, I think he studies him, and he beats him because of that. Joe is very impressed with Tom's quick striking skills and ability to end fights quick, but he doesn't know if that will translate well against Jon Jones.
Here's a question with Aspinall. What happens with Aspinall in the second round? I talk about a guy who's fast twitch. He might be the fastest heavyweight in the history of the sport. I don't think anybody moves like that guy does. He moves like a 175-pounder. His hand speed and full range of skills. Incredible stand-up, knocks guys out with one punch, black belt in jiu-jitsu, really good wrestler, and he's young.
So what's your prediction if it happens?
It's hard to bet against Jon. But Jon's not a real heavyweight.
Want to keep watching more UFC news? Click the video on the screen